Hey guys, it's Nick Costco once again with our Jersey Flight interview series. It's part two of our 2021 look into training camp and, of course, the regular season coming up for the Jersey Flight in the National Arena League. Pleased to be with you once again. And now today, pleased to be joined by Sean Daniels. We talked to him last offseason and, of course, leading into what we thought was going to be a season last year. Linebacker, defensive end, defensive star, you name it. So, Sean, thanks for joining me today. First off, I just got to ask you, how are things been going for you in terms of how you've been able to adjust since last season where there was no football season? And, what have you been doing since that time last summer?
Oh, there's really no adjustment period, to have. You kind of just stay the course and keep going. I mean, it is what it is. We can't sit there and harp on it. They canceled the season. Season was canceled. There's nothing really to do you can't really sit there and cry over spilt milk, You just gotta keep with your training and keep going, and if they decided to have the season in 2021, then I just wanted to make sure I was ready and I hit the ground rolling. I didn't miss a single step.
So after last year, once they officially announced the cancellation of the season, you mentioned just staying the course and obviously keeping up with your training. I mean, did you do any other adjustments, or did you kind of just go into a normal off season, or how did it exactly work for you? Because I know some players, they have a certain ritual or regimen when they go into off season to training camp to regular season training, and all of a sudden it goes back, and you basically just go backwards and just say, all right, back into the off season training. I mean, how did you adapt that type of training in terms of your workouts, your lifting, film study? What did you do once you found out the season was canceled last year and knowing that you had to prepare for 2021?
Not a thing different. I just flipped that little switch in my head saying, all right, instead of a couple months now, you got another full 365 to get ready to really, really fine tune things. So don't waste that time. So, they canceled the season. Very next day, I'm right back in the gym lifting. You can't let these things hold you back. You just got to keep moving forward and make sure you're ready for when the next opportunity comes up.
Now, when we talked to you last year, we mentioned that how you are a local product to this area, to the Trenton area. Of course, you were a member of Highland Regional High School
Mhm.
back in the day. You played football at Temple, and basically since 2015, you spent a lot of your career with the Philadelphia Soul. And then, we talked about it a little bit last year about when you decided to join the Jersey Flight after the obviously the shutdown of the AFL with Philadelphia, Atlantic City, and among other teams. And now that you spent the majority of your career in this area, what was it like for you signing with Jersey last year and knowing that you wanted to stay here for the 2021 season?
I mean, it was good. I love being home. Who doesn't want to be home and play for their home team? You know, that's it was a no brainer. They shut down the AFL. I said, okay, what do I have next? There's the IFL, there's the NAL, and then I'm all right. Well, let me look at these teams. Oh, there's a team in Jersey. Okay, I'm here. I'm sold.
Well, it's as simple as that. And
Yeah, very simple.
I'm sure the Jersey fans love that attitude. Of course, stay home, represent the hometown as
Sure.
well. So, knowing that there was a lot of uncertainty, and I'm sure a lot of guys, they made their decisions based on what was the best situation for them going into this new year. But obviously, with no season last year, some guys who initially signed on with Jersey decided to go in other directions this year. Did you have any thoughts about that, or did you say, "Look, this is what I signed up for in 2020. Let me just reset and get back and get ready for Jersey in 2021, rather than look for another team in this league or another league"?
That the second one. I just rewired myself and said, all right, well, I have another year to get ready. Like I said before, I'm going to be with the Jersey team regardless. Because, like I said, this is home. This is where I want to be. This is where I want to stay. If they got rid of the Jersey team, then I would look for places to play elsewhere. I'll look for the next closest place. So we would we'd be looking somewhere in probably Delaware, Lehigh Valley, somewhere PA, something close. But this is home for me.
Awesome. So you bring the championship experience. You had your time with the Philadelphia Soul, Arena Bowls here and there. Of course, you have plenty of individual accolades as well. You won two Arena Bowls actually with the Soul. Do you think that experience is going to help out with this flight team, knowing that again there are a lot of veterans on this Jersey flight team on paper? We talked about it last year, and pretty much the same thing early goings in this year. It's a stacked roster on paper. There are some young bucks as well on the roster, but do you think having that championship mentality and experience is going to ultimately help out all your teammates, despite the fact that you guys really didn't even get together last year, and then you're basically you're hitting a reset button for 2021?
Absolutely, it's going to help because winning two championships back to back teaches guys something that they don't even realize they're being taught, and that's how to win. Everybody will tell you, oh, this is how you win. You got to do this, you got to do that. Everyone can say it, but when it comes down to actually doing it and watching it happen on the field, you learn things that you could never speak, words of. So we have Hollis coming. We just signed him as a DB. We have Keith on the O line. So those are three guys who all share that winning experience. So you can give us 18 rookies or you can give us 35 veterans. Whether we're together for one day or we're together for a full year, knowing how to win is absolutely the most important thing. And that can be infectious to anybody at any level because people see that and they see the preparation, they see the work, they see the dedication, and they're like, okay, I see the success he's having and he's had. Let me kind of, mimic that. And the guys that don't see that and the guys that don't mimic that are going to be the guys that don't know how to win and they're going to be weeded out very quickly.
What's it been like for you knowing that you have a couple of former Soul teammates on the roster now? You just mentioned Dwayne Hollis, who just got signed to the roster. He's a big addition to that secondary on defense. Obviously, Keith Newell, who was going to be on the team last year as well. It's almost like, all right, what are the best? Who are the best guys from the Soul that we can keep around? Who else around from the local area can we keep around? Who has this championship experience? What's that been like for you knowing that you already have a couple of Soul teammates with you on this new roster? Does that make the transition easier to when you're playing for a new team?
Well, I played on a bunch of new teams, so that transition thing is something I'm not used. I mean, I'm not a stranger to, but of course, it does have that comfort level, of knowing that I got a DB back there who I know will make the big plays. I got an old lineman who I know is going to lock things up because I've seen it with my own two eyes for multiple seasons, day in and day out for 6 months. I mean, I was ready to rock with the team regardless. Doesn't matter who we got. We're going to mold together. We're going to mesh, and we're going to go out and win. But it just makes it a little bit more comfortable when you got people that you've been through that with before.
No doubt. Just moving forward here now for a little bit of the off the field stuff. Head coach Terry Foster, he talked about having a presence in the community last year. Again, COVID happened and it's still it's still around. So the community events are a little bit tougher to come by. But of course, the way the world has adjusted and with the vaccine on the way, of course, the ability to have these community events and hopefully have fans in the stands this year will be a bigger possibility. So, he's talked about having a bigger presence in the community of Trenton. Again, we mentioned before that you're a local guy. You love representing your hometown, Highland, New Jersey product. You love this area. So when you guys get up and running this season, now, how important is it to you and the rest of the team to build that presence in the community, giving back to the youth football programs around that area in New Jersey?
It's very big because this is absolutely bigger than us. We just put on helmets and shoulder pads and we go out there and knock people around. But those children, man, and this is going to sound cliche, but the children are the future. They're what's more important. So any chance we have to give back to them, we need to seize full opportunity of that. And I have full faith that the flight front office and everyone working behind the scenes are going to do everything within the COVID restrictions to get us out in the community, to get our faces seen and our voices heard, and let everyone know that they're just as important as they think that we are, if not more, because they're the next generation.
What is it like for you knowing that you see NFL teams do this all the time? They have these big community events. What's the main difference do you think when you compare an NFL, NBA franchise that do these local community events compared to a team like Jersey, who is a lot more community based, localized? Again, it's the Trenton area. You see this with all arena football teams. Even if they're a part of a bigger city, it feels like it's more of a community thing. It's a big town pride type of thing. What do you think the main difference is between a Jersey Flight community event compared to let's say like the Philadelphia Eagles or like a New York Giants event, like something like what they do in the community?
Well, like I said before, it's bigger than us. And I can say this without a doubt. Every single arena team I've been on or I've seen or I've watched operate, and there's been quite a few, they all understand that the community is the biggest part of that team, of that league, of that organization. And I just feel as though that like arena teams have a little bit more closer connection with the community other than the big name professional sports teams, because they kind of show up, they do their thing, shake hands, kiss babies, and get out of there. With us, we're there, we're talking to people, interacting with them. They come to the games, we're stopping mid game, talking to them on the sideline, things like that. So we put our community and the kids way above the game.
We were talking with Larry Beavers last week, one of the new additions to the flight as well. He mentioned a couple of stories about fan interactions that he's had during games. I mean, is there anything that sticks out in your mind, even during a game where you had a memorable fan interaction, whether it be during a play, after a play, or even during a break in the action? Did you have anything that actually sticks out in your mind throughout your career?
We were playing Washington Valor, I believe, and it was before the kickoff. And the way they had it set up, they had the fans right there on the board.
Mhm.
And I remember one guy was just talking, just in my ear the whole time. And I just looked at him, grabbed his beer, chugged his beer, ran down on kickoff, and made the tackle. And he just, after that, the guy was cracking up, was laughing. He found me on Facebook, and it was a hilarious moment.
That's awesome. Those are one of those moments that you cannot replicate in pretty much any other sport around this country other than arena football. So that is awesome. That's awesome to hear. Hopefully we see that in Trenton this spring and summer as well. So I want to circle back to your football experience to kind of wrap things up here. You being a former All Arena member with the AFL and of course with the Soul, with your experience and knowing that your teammates, it's kind of the same thing as we talked about earlier. You have a big veteran group here with the Jersey Flight this season. And again, I remember when we talked last year, there were championship expectations for the Jersey Flight despite never playing a game together. And it was a new era, so to speak, for the Jersey Flight within the NAL. Knowing that a couple teams left this league, some teams came back, teams have reshaped their rosters for 2021. I would imagine your guys' expectations are to still win a championship here in 2021, no matter how it's done, no matter how many games are played, no matter how many practices you guys get. I mean, do you think, once again, in your mind, this is a championship football team that can bring a trophy back to Trenton?
Absolutely. And that I wouldn't want to step on the field with anybody that doesn't have that same standard set for this team. That's always the goal, no matter where you are. The goal is always to win the championship, win the big games, get the wins, get in, get out, leave your mark on the season. That's always the goal. Now, sometimes things change in the season. Everyone has that same goal, but it's not realistic that everyone's going to get it. But I truly believe that with this team, if we put the right work in with the veterans that we have and the young guys buy in and everyone is just full steam ahead, go, we will make a good run in this league and we will win that championship.
Before I let you go here, is there anything you want to say to the Jersey Flight fans who, obviously they missed out on football last year? Football and sports came back throughout last summer and the fall, but arena football at this moment is finally back. Is there anything that you want to say to these Jersey Flight fans who are eagerly awaiting, again, this new start, this new era of Jersey Flight football in Trenton?
All I have to say is just show up to the games and we'll let our play talk for us. We're going to put on a good show this year. I can promise you that.
Sean Daniels, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you once again. Hopefully I'll see you out there soon on the practice field. And of course, looking forward to broadcasting your games this season. A bigger, better opportunity here in 2021. And hopefully you acquire a couple big sacks from me. So it'll get me excited in the booth up there.
I got you, man. I got you. That's for you.
Big thanks to Sean Daniels for joining me. I am Nick Costco saying so long. This is part 2 of our Jersey Flight interview series. We'll be doing these throughout the off season leading up to training camp and the regular season. So we'll see you next time.